And I think it's gonna get worse. Okay, so, howdy everyone. If any of you have watched my previous video, you'll know that I basically said I was going to make a video talking about FFXIV and it was going to be one big rant video. Yeah, this is it. This is probably just going to be a stupidly long video of me ranting about one of my favourite games of all time. Yeah, you've probably seen videos like this a million times before and you probably don't care about my opinion, but I wanted to talk about it either way, so here we are. Anyway, I should probably mention what I'm going to talk about in this particular video. Basically, I want to go over everything that has been going on with the game recently, and also my experience with the game, what I think about the expansions, especially the Dawntrail expansion, which, trust me, I have some thoughts about that one. Basically, gameplay, everything else, all the usual stuff. I'm going to talk about a lot of the things that probably a million other people have already made videos on, but I wanted to do my own take on stuff, and my own opinions and stuff, and see how it goes, you know? So, here we go. I'm going to start by talking about my personal experience with the game itself. I fucking love this game. It's literally one of my main games that I play pretty much every day. I always keep my sub active, so that way I'm always able to log in whenever I feel like it. Thankfully, my job allows me to keep enough money to do that, so it's not so bad. At least until I eventually lose my job, which probably will happen, to be honest, but I'm not going to get into that. Anyway. The point is, my personal experience with this game has always been usually positive, mostly positive. It's like, the main reason I play this game is for, well, there's multiple reasons actually. The big one is, of course, the story. The story is like the highlight of this entire game. Like, you play FFXIV to experience the story. That's the main thing you're paying for, and honestly, it's worth it in most cases. So yeah, that's the big thing, of course, that really gives me much enjoyment. Another thing, of course, is the ability to create your own character and customize them, of course. Naturally, I made my little guy here, Sai. He is my main character. He's my warrior of light, my warrior of darkness. Everything I do the expansions with, I do everything with him first as much as I can. All new content that comes out, I always do with him first, because he's my main. And he's not the only character I've made. I've made plenty of characters. I mean, you've seen my new look, and I've made plenty of other characters too, which I think I showcased in some of my older videos. And yeah, like I don't know, I'll probably put some pictures up of a few of them if I feel like it. But anyway, the point is, this game allows you to customize your character, create your own sort of look for them, and using the game's resources. Obviously, you can't, physically make your own entirely unique character, unfortunately, but you can use the game's resources to, of course, customize your character to your liking, using the in-game cosmetics, accessories, everything else. And I love this game's, well, I love the game's character design, because Final Fantasy has been one of my favourite series of all time, and it's got that very classic Japanese anime style to it, as most games like this would have. It's a JRPG, so naturally it's going to have that kind of look to it. Cloud Strife, Scorleon Heart, Tidus, they're all very Japanese anime-centered characters. And in this game in particular, you can definitely see a lot of that art style here as well, but there's also some extra differences. For example, you've got lots of different races in this game. You've got the Makote, which are the cat people, which are very Japanese anime actually, now that I think about it. Probably not going to go into much of those. You got the Rogadins, which are basically the big ogre guys, or trolls, or whatever you want to call them. Like, they're basically the big guys of the races. And secondly, you've got the Hrothgars, which are like the furry big guys, if you're into that sort of thing. Vieras, which are just tall, buff women. Well, I say buff, but they're just tall. And then you've got, and then obviously, see, they did also release male Viera, so that's also a thing. Anyway, basically, they've got a lot of races, and one of the main races I love is the Lalafell. Lalafels are my favourite race, because I just think they're really adorable, for the most part. So obviously, I think, naturally I was going to make my main character one of them, and here he is. This is Sai. And he is basically the primary reason why I keep playing this game, why I keep my sub active, because without Sai I probably wouldn't have actually enjoyed this game as much as I do. I wouldn't have actually invested as much time as I did into the story, and, well, to be honest, I probably would have stopped playing this game by Heavensward, so I'm glad that I created him, because without him, my enjoyment of this game would be nada. I wouldn't be here talking about this game right now, and I wouldn't be loving this game as much as I do, and I wouldn't be making such a stupidly long rant video about how much I love this game and why it has so many problems that need fixing. Anyway, so you get the idea. Basically, this game is a part of my life, and Sai is the primary reason for it, along with the story of the game. And then when we talk about gameplay, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to the gameplay stuff later. The main thing I want to talk about now is the expansions. So Heavensward is peak, of course, it's absolutely fantastic. Stormblood was alright, it wasn't amazing, but it was good enough. It's like the story was a little bit off in some cases. I kind of got bored halfway through of it, but it was alright, it was a decent story. And then of course Shadowbringers absolutely knocked it out of the park. Completely fucking perfect expansion. And the story in that game, in that expansion, I mean, is just genuinely peak. It actually, well, yeah, I said Heavensward was peak. No, I was wrong. Shadowbringers is peak. Heavensward is very closely behind it, but Shadowbringers is at the top. This is the best expansion in the game, story-wise, no question. And of course, for one very good reason, that the best character in the game, the main villain, Emmett Selk. I love him. I would die for him, and unfortunately, he died first, which is very unfortunate. But you know, you get the idea. And then of course Endwalker. Endwalker was, like, I love the story, I think it was definitely close to Shadowbringers, but I also had problems with the content of that expansion, which I think I'm not the only one who did, so yeah, we'll get onto that. And then of course Dawntrail. So Dawntrail was very, yeah, it was very double-sided. I feel like, for the most part, the expansion itself was fine. It was a decent expansion. It's kind of like Stormblood, where it's like it wasn't amazing, but it was good enough to call itself an expansion. However, Dawntrail did have some obvious problems with the story, and I'm not really going to make this video about me talking about the story of the game, because as much as I love the story, I could go on for years about it, and I'm not going to do that in this video because I have a lot of other things I want to talk about first. So if ever I do make another video in the future where I can talk about the story, then I'll absolutely dedicate a whole video to it, but at the moment I'm not going to do that. Basically, the long and short of it is, Dawntrail's story was very divisive, to say the least. It had some issues, and I noticed a lot of those issues, but the thing is, I also really enjoyed it. I might be a bit of a psychopath for that, but I genuinely enjoyed Dawntrail's story, even if it wasn't great. I think my favourite part of the story was definitely the whole thing at the end with Queen Sphene and everything you had to do in the Living Memory. Living Memory is fucking beautiful. I love that location so much. Obviously, the other character that kind of caused problems was Wuklamut. Yeah, she was definitely not well received, and the voice actress also played a part in that. Basically, I don't care about the drama and the politics, I'm not going to get into that, but I know that there was some controversy around the voice actress and the character itself, and I'm not going to get into that. When it came to Wuklamut herself, I didn't mind her at first. I thought she was fine. I didn't really care too much about her. She wasn't like one of those special characters that I was really interested in, like Thancred or, you know, Emmett Selk, but I really do. At first I did like her, and then obviously as the story progressed I started to get a bit sick of her, because she was basically taking Sai's role as the main character. She basically took Sai's spotlight, and I just did not approve of that. So yeah, you don't take my boy's spotlight, you leave my baby boy's spotlight alone, thank you very much. Anyway, so basically Dawntrail was great for the most part. It was fine. It was a decent enough expansion that did the job. It added new content that, you know, everything was expected of an expansion. It provided all the new stuff that we wanted, new dungeons, new trials, new raids, and I'll get onto the raids in a moment, because that is definitely the highlight of the expansion in my opinion. But yeah, it did everything that the expansion was promised to do and needed to do. It did all the usual content, which was good. So yeah, like overall Dawntrail wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad by any means, no. It wasn't a bad expansion, god no. But it was definitely not great. In like at least not as great as Stormblood, I would say. I think Stormblood slightly beats Dawntrail in that respect, so yeah. Anyway, so that's my thoughts on Dawntrail at the moment. I'm not going to talk too much about it because, like I said, this is going to be a stupidly long run video, and I don't want to go on too much about everything. I want to kind of get my points across first, and then maybe I'll add some extra things at the end if I feel I need to. So the next thing I want to quickly talk about is job design and the content that they've been adding recently. So job design is already a mixed bag for a lot of people in this game. And it is also causing lots of problems and controversy. The way that the jobs have been homogenized has been noticeably not good. And it has also been very, very noticeable that they are effectively trying to dumb the jobs down to the point where anyone can play them, which means that obviously a lot of people who invested a lot of time and skill into the game are going to get bored of the jobs because they're making the jobs way too easy. And in some ways I can see the problem with that. Like, some jobs definitely could do with being a little bit easier. Personally, I think Black Mage, the changes they made to Black Mage, I think actually were actually good. I know that might be a bit of a hot take, but I actually really like the current Black Mage, because getting rid of the timers, like, honestly, the timers were the most annoying part of the job for me. I did not like the timers. It was a pain in the arse having to keep that up, so, especially since it didn't work well in a lot of, you know, fights, and a lot of the way that certain fights happen, and how you can't really attack a boss if it's not actually in the stage, you know, that was a problem. I know they technically fixed that with the Umbral Soul mechanic in Shadowbringers, but in Shadowbringers you could only get that at level 76, which was really bad. And then of course they did buff that in, I think, Endwalker, where they put it down to level 40 or something. But basically the point is, Black Mage was not fun for a lot of reasons, and I'm glad that they made the changes regarding the timers. I think the timers can fuck off. They can go. I'm fine with that, because the overall rotation of the job is still more or less the same, and they also added the whole extra charge mechanic to ley lines and how you can use multiple triple casts now. Like, I love all that. Like, I think Black Mage is actually really fun now. However, another job that I'm not happy about what they did to is Viper. When Viper came out, it was basically like, it had a much more nuanced rotation. It was a lot more specific, and you had to kind of manage things a lot more. It was a lot more micromanagey, because you had to keep a track of your debuff, which you applied to enemies, which was the same thing as Reaper, but I'll get onto that in a minute. Basically, Viper had a debuff that you keep on enemies, and so long as that debuff is up, you deal more damage, which is pretty basic. And then obviously you had to manage that, and then you also had to manage your buff timers, which give you more damage and attack speed, and then you also had to manage what your combo rotation was like your finisher was going to be. You had to manage the specific order of your attacks, and then of course you had to, once you get high enough level, you had to manage your reawaken gauge and making sure you don't overcap on that. Like, Viper had a lot more, it had a lot more busyness to it. It was a lot more interesting. It was like, it was one of those jobs that felt like a lot more challenging. It kind of felt a bit like Ninja, although no, actually no, not Ninja. No, what job am I thinking of? It kind of felt, actually, you know what, it kind of felt a bit like Black Mage, because it had a bunch of timers and debuffs and things that you had to keep up, so yeah, it kind of had that similar aesthetic, but Viper did it better, because Viper not only was a melee DPS with a lot of attack speed, but it was also, its timers had a bit more leeway to them. You had a bit more time to keep them up. And then, like, one patch later after they released Viper, they removed the debuffs. And then they buffed all the buffs to make them stupidly long. So now they basically dumbed down Viper to the point where, oh, okay, you just press the combos in the right order, you press your reawaken when it goes up, and you use the Dreadwinder cooldown when you have charges of it. Like, it's no longer that interesting kind of job that it used to be. It doesn't have that busy rotation to it anymore. It's just, you just use shit when you have it now, which I don't like. I think, for one thing, I liked Viper initially. I thought it was really fun, and I still use Viper as like the main job going through Dawntrail. Like, Sai is using Viper as his main job at the moment, which is, you know, I want him to stay true to the expansion story, because obviously Viper is the poster child job of the expansion. So naturally I want Sai to have that job too, and whatever the poster child job is in the next expansion, Sai will switch to that as well. However, when it comes to Viper's gameplay, that's where it falls down for me, because like, aesthetically it's cool, but it's also, actually that's the other problem, is that Viper isn't very aesthetically, what's the word, it's not very close to its theme. It's like, you think that a job called Viper would be like, they would have the ability to apply poisons and do other kinds of debilitating effects to enemies, but it used to have at least one debuff. Yeah, it wasn't a poison debuff, but it was still a debuff. And now obviously that's gone, it's like, okay, so where's the job's identity then? Like, couldn't they just make it a dot job? Because that's the other problem, I think, is it could have been a dot job. Like, I would have been fine with that. I think that would have been aesthetically, like, pleasing to the overall, like, theme of the job. It should have been a dot job. Like, maybe, but like, one of your blades can apply a poison debuff and the other blade applies the weakening debuff to deal more damage. You know, that could be cool, and you had to manage those two debuffs at the same time. Or what if, like, an alternative idea could be you switch between the debuffs over time, and depending on which debuff you have on will depend on what abilities you want to use during your rotation. Like, you have the weakening debuff that allows you to deal more damage, you want to use reawaken during that time, but then you switch to the poison debuff, and so you use your Dreadwinder combo to, you know, apply your own personal buffs and to keep the damage going. Like, I don't know, it's little things like that I think would have made the job so much more interesting, and instead of doing that, they fucking dumbed it down to the point where it's like, okay, so it's basically just Ninja but easy. So yeah, I'm not happy with what they did to Viper. Another job I think also suffered the same issue would probably be, what was it? Not Red Mage. I mean, Red Mage is fine for the most part. I like Red Mage. I do think that the new abilities they added, the Profulgence and the Vice of Thorns abilities, I think those could be buffed. I know that sounds weird, but I don't like the fact that they're on 2-minute cooldowns. I know that really does sound like a bad idea, like putting it on lower cooldown, because considering that Profulgence is the capstone ability that you use with your big 2-minute cooldown magnification, but I don't like the fact that I can only use them every 2 minutes, and I think that's a problem I have with other jobs too. Is like, you know, they're big fun abilities. You have to wait 2 minutes to use. It's kind of boring, to be honest. I hate the 2-minute rotation. I think it needs to go. Anyway, what was I saying? There was another job that I had a problem with what they changed to it, and I can't remember what it was now. Fuck. I think it was it? No, I can't remember. You know what? I'll get back to that. I think I'll figure it out eventually. Basically, job design in this game is not good, and it needs to be changed completely. Now, they are planning a big job design change in 8.0 in the next expansion, apparently. This is where another one of my worries comes into play. I don't think they're going to follow through on that. I genuinely don't think they're going to do as big of a deal, as big of a change as they say they are. I don't think they're going to make such a big deal out of it. Or rather, they are making such a big deal out of it, but I don't think they're going to follow up on that. I don't think the hype is placed well. I'm worried because the main thing I'm worried about is the level of content that we've been getting in this game lately has been stagnating. It's been getting, or not stagnating, it's been getting a little bit less, what's the word? It's been getting less frequent, I think. They did have to extend patch cycles a long time ago, and I think they're going to do that again. And I know that half the reason for that is because they don't have enough staff to keep working on the game constantly. Like they are not quite as well staffed as like other MMOs and companies would be, which is fair enough. Like, completely understandable. It takes ages to do game design and all that stuff, and having not enough staff to work on it would mean obviously patch cycles are going to be really delayed, which is understandable. And they have been hiring for new staff, I think, and I don't know if that's been going well or not. So hopefully it has, but I don't know. The point is, because of these really slow patch cycles, it's been getting very boring. It's been getting stagnating. Like, I haven't been able to engage with the game as much as I used to because not only have the patch cycles been really slow, but the content has been the exact same for ages now. It's basically just been the same shit every patch. You get the trials and the raids and, you know, the dungeons, the usual stuff, which fair enough is fun. Like, for the first couple of times you do them, they're fun. But then you have to do the repeatable content, which is the part I don't like. And I know that's part of an MMO's entire core design, is for it to be repeatable content. I get that, but at the same time, that is not what I enjoy about the game. Leveling the jobs is something that I usually enjoy doing, as long as the job itself is something that I enjoy playing. For the most part, I enjoy most of the jobs. However, a lot of them do have problems to the point where I don't want to play them consistently, and in order to get them leveled up, I have to do that, which is not fun. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Like, the patch cycles are always going to be delayed, and because of that, content has been getting a little bit less interesting. They released, obviously, the new field operation, Occult Crescent, which is obviously an homage to Bojusha from Shadowbringers and Eureka from Stormblood, because apparently Eureka, it had its problems, but it was successful for the most part. And then Bojusha apparently was really fun too, and I think Delubrum Regine was a big highlight of the whole part of that. I did take part in the Delubrum Regine and field operation for Shadowbringers. I did do Bojusha. I didn't enjoy it that much. Delubrum Regine was fine, but for the most part, I just, like, when I wanted the relics, I just did Fates, so which is also very boring, but I'll get onto that later. I didn't do Eureka because I don't care about the relics in Stormblood. I did a bit of Eureka and I was like, nah, actually this is kind of boring. I don't want to do this. It's not really worth it. I also don't like how the Diable job gear is tied to the relic quest. That didn't bode well with me. Anyway, then of course Endwalker didn't get a field operation, which a lot of people didn't like. And part of that reason, I think, was also because, well, Endwalker was a much more impactful expansion. They had to spend a lot more time working on that, and I think it's understandable that they had to take a break, especially with the COVID coming out. That didn't help. So COVID definitely didn't help. So I think in Endwalker's case they get a pass with the lack of content, because COVID certainly did fuck things up for them. And also because Endwalker was the big finale to the Hydaelyn and Zodiac story, they had to make sure they put all their effort into that, which was fair enough. So yeah. But then Dawntrail comes out, and yeah, Occult Crescent is, in my case, I didn't do it. I don't really care for field operations anymore, because I didn't like Bostia, I didn't bother with Eureka, so I didn't think Occult Crescent would be that enjoyable. I did try out the Phantom Job system, and that is, the Phantom Job system is such a miss. I'm sorry, that there is no reason for me to want to go back to Occult Crescent, because the Phantom Job system is literally just, oh, you get extra actions that go on cooldowns or something. Yeah, some of them can be interesting. I've seen the Warrior one, where if you take damage you go into a berserk state, which seems interesting in concept, but then it's you still only get a few abilities per Phantom Job, and you have to take so much time leveling them up to get those abilities, and I can't be arsed. And all of this is mainly for the relic weapons, which in my opinion, the relic weapons this expansion are kind of meh, honestly. I mean, I've seen the new ones they teased in patch 7.5, those ones look cool. But the current relic before that, it's kind of meh, sorry, I'm not interested. So, for the most part, Occult Crescent for me was a miss. I don't really do field operations, and I only do relic weapons if it's a particular weapon that looks cool. If I think there's a particular shiny weapon that I really want and it looks cool, I'll go for it, but if not, I'm not going to bother. Anyway, so let's go back to some other content. I think it might be good for me to talk about the main good things about Dawntrail, because I don't want this video to be entirely negative, because it will mostly be negative, unfortunately. But I will try and lay off some big positives. For one, Dawntrail, the raids. Oh my god, the Arcadion is peak. I'm sorry, the Arcadion is the best raid in the entire game now. Originally, I used to think Edom was my favorite raid, and I still love Pandemonium. Of course, Pandemonium was amazing. Omega was also really cool, and Alexander was, it was okay. I don't really care about Alexander, and I also didn't really care for Bahama either. But yeah, Eden originally was my favourite raid. The Shadowbringers raids were my favourite originally. Now that honour goes to the Arcadion. The Arcadion is goddamn peak. Every fight in the Arcadion has been so cool, and granted a lot of them have been easy, because obviously they're still working on the battle design changes, which they said they were doing this expansion, and it's clear to see that they have been working on that, because a lot of the fights in this expansion have actually been really fucking good, and they've actually ramped up the difficulty a lot, which is really nice to see. So, if we talk about, let's talk about the first raid, Black Cat. So, Black Cat was obviously the easiest one. Is she the easiest? I don't know. Her mechanics are fairly simple. She has the classic, two-sided swipe attack that you have to dodge. She has the, what's it called? She has a regular tank buster. She has the cool mechanic where she uppercuts you, and then when you fall down, you break a platform. That part is cool. I think the fact that she manipulates the stage is also very interesting. I wouldn't say it's unique, but because obviously there are plenty of other bosses that manipulate the stage. But Black Cat's way of doing it is very cool, because you have to manage yourself. You have to predict when the uppercut is where it's going to launch you, and you have to make sure you don't land on a broken platform, because otherwise you'll fucking die. And I like that. I think that's a really unique and interesting way of doing the fight. And then we get on to Honeybee Lovely. Honeybee Lovely was honestly interesting. She was fairly easy too, but her fight is just meant to be for memes, I think. Her fight was definitely not meant to be taken too seriously, and honestly I like it. I liked the fight. I thought it was interesting. The music is also interesting. Oh, the music in every raid has been so good as well. I'll get onto that as well. Black Cat's theme is pretty basic, but it's also still very nice. It's a very good theme, and it also sets up the Arcadion's overall motif, which is very nice. Honeybee Lovely's theme is actually interesting. I like it for the most part. Obviously I wouldn't want to listen to it on repeat, but it's a nice theme to listen to every now and then. Then we got, of course, to the Brute Bomber. The Brute Bomber was fucking hard. When I first did the Brute Bomber, I died several times. I got decked hard. He was tricky. But then, obviously, once you learn how his mechanics work, and you have to keep an eye on which side he's going to punch with the lariat combo. Once you get that down and you understand how the bombs work, it's not that bad. You can kind of predict it. But yeah, for the highlight for me in this particular fight was the music. His theme song is banging, man. I would listen to that on repeat. His theme song is so cool. And then of course there's Wicked Thunder. Wicked Thunder's fight didn't really do a whole lot for me personally. I like her theme, her music is really cool, but her fight was a bit meh. Until it gets to the near the end when she does the part where she splits the stage into like a quarter and then she does the big lasers across the both sides of that one line of the stage. That part is cool, I like that. And then of course at the end when she does the last resort laser where it's like a big stack and you have to kill it before she kills you with the laser. Like, I love that part as well. So yeah, like overall the fights have been like the first tier of the Arcadion raids were genuinely amazing, and then it only got better when they got to tier 2. So first of course was Dancing Green. Dancing Green honestly is a vibe. His theme song is a little bit meh because obviously his music is supposed to be in line with what he's doing in the fight, so it's a little bit less epic and it's a little bit more supposed to keep in line with the beat and everything, but I like it for the most part because it's also very disco beat themed, and I love the idea of them changing up every theme as well for every tier. Like every character has their own specific theme, and also the wrestling vibes from this raid have been very interesting. I mean, Brute Bomber was the first one, of course. Well, no, actually, I'd say Black Cat was probably the first one, but then Brute Bomber really added to that wrestling vibe. Like the cage fight wrestling was such a cool idea. Dancing Green was a cool fight because his whole thing was basically stay in the spotlights when he's about to do the move, and then of course if you don't stay in the spotlight you take a ton of damage. However, you also had to then remember which side that he was going to do his big wavy attack thing, so you had to make sure you were on the correct side when you do the spotlight. And then there's also the part where the platforms cycle downwards with the colours, and you have to make sure you stay out of the ones that light up. Like, his whole mechanic is really cool, and then I love his finale attack where he gets all the afro frogs in the background to do like a particular side where they do their attack, and then depending on which way they're pointing depends on which way he has to do his wave attack. Like the whole fight is just a vibe, honestly. I dance to it every time I play it. And then of course we get to probably my favourite raid in tier 2, Sugar Riot. Like, her fight it's tricky. There's some challenge to it, but it's also genuinely just a massive vibe. And she's got one of my favourite songs in the entire raid as well. Like, Back to the Drawing Board is such a good track, honestly, in my opinion. It's one of my favourites. And at first I thought I wouldn't like it because it sounded a bit too rappy, a bit too like modern. But then once I started getting into it and I started doing the fight to the song, I was like, oh, actually, hang on a minute, this slaps. This absolutely slaps. So yeah, Sugar Riot is an absolute blast. I love that fight. Then we get to the Brute Abominator. That fight also decked me hard. Every time the Brute Bomber comes out, I just get decked. He just destroys me. And it was definitely true in this one too. The Brute Abominator was a very, very tough one. I didn't understand his petrification mechanic because apparently if you look away it still petrifies you, and then I realised, oh, hang on a minute, you have to stand behind the plant corpses. And then I think one time I stood behind a plant corpse and it still petrified me. I was like, hang on, what a minute. I don't know, I didn't get it at first, so like it took me a while to understand him properly, but once you get the idea, like his fight is very cool because I love how he shifts between different parts of the stage and different modes, and then you have to like keep an eye on where he's moving, and then of course the final phase he's inside the giant fiery ring and you have to keep an eye on where he's going to swipe and which weapon he's going to use. Like, there's so much more interesting depth to his battle, and there's so much more stuff to keep track of that I just think works. It just works. It's so good. And then of course Howling Blade. Howling Blade was actually not too bad. He was definitely better than Wicked Thunder in my case. I wouldn't say he's especially interesting, especially since I hated the tower mechanic. Yeah, the ones where he cuts down the big wooden pillars and they fall on you. The Yojimbo mechanic from Golden Saucer. I hate that mechanic. I'm sorry. That one is not fun for me because I can never predict where the fucking things are going to fall because I can't tell where he cut them from, like what angle and everything. So I'm not a fan of that one. But I do like the rest of the fight, and you know, all the stuff that he does and how much faster he gets as well in the later phase as well. You have to really you have to lock in if you don't want to get hit, so I like that. And then of course tier 3. Tier 3 was an absolute banger, obviously. The first raid with what was their name again? Oh shit, fucking Vamp Fatale, that was it. Vamp Fatale is such a I love this fight so much because not only does she manipulate the stage in a lot of ways, but she has that expanding AoE where you have to keep an eye on which bats are going to get hit first. Then you of course have all the chainsaws that move around in different directions. You have to keep track of where they're going and which way they're going, and also you have to kill the chainsaws before they kill you. You have to kill the wrecking balls before they kill you. You have to pay attention to what side she's going to kick. There's so much to this fight that you have to keep track of, and it might seem overwhelming and challenging at first, but honestly, once you understand her mechanics, it's kind of pretty simple, and at the same time, it's rewarding as hell when you get it right, because goddamn is her fight epic. I genuinely love Vamp Fatale's fight. and I'd be happy to repeat that content. And then of course, next up was, again, I keep forgetting the names. Right, it was the Surfer Bros, the totally not gay bros. What are they called? The Blowjob Brothers. No, I'm kidding. Well, I forget their names. Is it Deep Blue and Hot Red? Red Hot? Something like that? Yeah. Basically, those two also really ramped up the fight, because not only were they two separate bosses that you had to kill, you had to target either one. Technically, even though they are two separate targets, technically it doesn't matter which one you target, because I think they share health bars and they do heal each other, so it doesn't really matter which one you target first. But at the same time, they are two targets that you can choose between, and that also adds a whole lot more depth to your target priority system. Like if you want to try and focus on one target and the other one is too far away from you, if you're playing a melee, you have to focus on the one that's closest to you, that kind of thing. It's really much more interesting that way. And then of course the amount of fucking like floor is lava mechanics they do in this stage as well. Like you really have to pay attention to where you're going to get like shoot the flames if they target you. And then of course the big like super move they do where they bash in the middle of the screen with their giant sphere of water and fire, and like I love that part. The whole animation of the fight is amazing, and the music is quite a bop as well. Like I don't usually like surfer rock, and honestly they changed my mind on that because this one was a banger. So then of course we get on to probably my ultimate favourite theme of the entire raid. Aside from Back to the Drawing Board, I would say the next one would be Absolute Tyranny, and that's because of the man himself. That's right, I forget his name. The champion, I can't remember his fucking name. I'm not because I'm not recording this in game at the moment, so I don't know. So, but I'll pop it up on the screen. If so that way Basically, this guy is also a blast, and his fight is a lot less. I would say it's a lot less intense than say Vamp Fatale's, but it's definitely more. Like you have to pay attention. Like you definitely have to lock in, because it depends on what weapons he's using. He's kind of got a Brute Abominator mechanic where you have to pay attention to which weapon he uses, and each one will do a different thing. And then of course he's got the mechanic where he basically destroys half the stage, and then you have to make sure you're on the right side of the stage, because he's going to throw the other part of it right at you. Like I love that part. And then the whole last phase where he goes absolutely ballistic and starts doing the meteor kicks into the ground, and you have to kill him before he kills. Like yes, this fight is a yes. It's just a big yes. I'm sorry, this whole fight is amazing. And then of course the big one, the Lindworm, with the song Everything Burns featuring Tom Morello. Love that, absolute banger of a song. Not my favourite, but definitely a banger, definitely love it. And of course the fight against the Lindworm is certainly interesting. A lot of the mechanics are again based on like stage manipulation, but then a lot of it is also you have to pay attention to which arm is going to do what, and then you also have to make sure that you get out of the coil. Like when he twists around the stage, you have to get out of the coil, but you have to move in the right direction, because otherwise he'll twist around, and if you don't go out in time, he'll put you back in the middle. It's like, I love that mechanic too. It's really cool looking. The animation work on these fights has been absolutely peak and stellar. I really love it. So yeah, the Arcadion overall, absolutely peak. Love it. Just love it. It's definitely amazing. So if we get onto the Alliance raids, Sandoria, Juno, and whatever the next one's going to be, I'm not a fan, because I don't personally play Final Fantasy XI. I'm not interested in Final Fantasy XI. I did do the first one. I did Juno the first walk. I haven't actually done Sandoria the second walk yet. I should probably do that, just so I can catch up when the next patch comes out. But basically, Alliance raids have never been my thing. Like I've never really enjoyed Alliance raids. If we talk about okay, so let's go through the expansions. Crystal Tower, I fucking despise Crystal Tower, and it's only because of the Shadowbringer relics and how often you had to spam them in order to get those relics. And now because of those relics, every time I do Alliance Roulette, 99% of the time it's a Crystal Tower raid, and I'm fucking sick of it. I really wish you could blacklist dungeons from your roulettes. That's another feature I think they should really add, is the ability to just say, no, I don't want this dungeon in my roulette, or at least put it on low priority. Because, like, fuck Crystal Tower. I'm so fucking sick of Crystal Tower. Just go away, please. Anyway, Heaven's Ward. The Void Ark Alliance raid is interesting. It's not really that much for me. Like, it doesn't do a whole lot for me, but I do like some of the fights. So, yeah, I don't know. It's okay. And then we talk about the Stormblood Alliance raids. Ravenaster. No thanks. No. Don't like it. I liked Final Fantasy XII. It's definitely Final Fantasy XII is one of my older Final Fantasies. It's one of the first ones I used to play when I was a kid. So I definitely like the representation of Final Fantasy XII from there. I don't like the raids themselves. The raids themselves are boring. They are very boring, and I hate the fucking calculator mechanic in the second fucking raid. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, no thanks. I don't like the Rabanastre raids. Although, to be fair, I do kind of like the Orban Monastery. Some of the boss fights in the Orban Monastery are actually alright, so if I get Orban Monastery I won't be too unhappy. And then of course the Nier raids in Shadowbringers. So I like the aesthetic of the Nier raids, I like the theme, I like the music, I like the overall look of the Nier raids. Fighting the bosses in these raids is a pain in my fucking ass, and it's not because the fights are bad, it's actually because I'm pretty sure that it lags my game out. Because every time I do the Nier raids, I get like huge delay on animations and everything. Like everything just lags, and I don't know what the fuck is going on, and I end up dying on the first mechanic. Like I don't know if that's a Nier raid thing specifically. I think it might also have something to do with me having an old PC. I don't know. Like basically every time I do the Nier raids, it just lags, and I can't play the game properly. Usually it fixes itself some way through, but then it's like, I don't know. It's still an issue that I have every time I play the Nier raids. But for the most part, the Nier raids are fine. I don't mind the overall gameplay of them. Tower at Paradigm's Breach is a bit long, in my opinion. Like Hansel and Gretel, that fight is a bit... God, it drags on a bit, that fight. But yeah, for the most part, they're okay. I like them. And I like the representation of Nier Automata. Not a game I really play, not a game I like, but it's a nice representation. And then, of course, the 12 raids, the Myths of the Realm from Endwalker. So these are my favourite Alliance raids because of the theme, primarily because of the theme. I probably won't be the first person to say this, but the fights, they don't do it justice. They really don't do it justice. The fights in Myths of the Realm are genuinely the most brain-dead easy shit. And you basically turn your brain off through half of it. Like, they are not that hard. And I get that they were trying to make content easier at the time during Endwalker. They should not have done that for the Myths of the fucking Realm. The literal 12. The 12 literal gods that we have, you know, been teased about since the fucking start of the game. The one that we pick in the first character selection, you know, as a fucking, you know, primary god that our character worships or whatever. Like, these are the 12 gods of the fucking world. And they are the easiest Alliance raids in the game. Bruh. Sorry? Like, that does not make sense to me. They are the easiest fights in the game, and I don't care if it's because our character has gotten like super strong because of all the things they've been doing in Endwalker and Shadowbringers. I don't care about that. They are the fucking gods of the world, and they are the easiest fucking fights in the entire fucking expansion, and I hate that. Sorry, bit of a rant. Okay, to be fair, not all of them. Lim Lane is actually a bit tricky. She can deck you if you're not careful. If you don't lock in, then she will deck you. Oshon as well, he can actually be a bit tricky, so they did ramp up the difficulty a little bit once you get later on, but for the most part I still think they are definitely still my favourite Alliance raids, primarily because I don't usually like Alliance raids. However, these are my favourite because it's because of the theme. I love the 12, I love the concept of the 12, and I love the story of the 12 raids too. The Myths of the Realm story was actually really fun, I really liked it. So the idea of fighting each and one, like every one of the gods, you know, one by one, and they all have their own unique mechanic and things that they do, and then of course the final fight where all of their unique mechanics culminate into one big boss, and I love that. That was so cool. The final fight was genuinely peak for me. But yeah, it was still too easy. Like, most of the fights were still too easy. So I don't usually like Alliance raids, but the 12 raids are still my favourite, and so every time I get those in the Alliance roulette, I'm happy. And if I get anything else, I'm like, eh. And if I get Crystal Tower, I want to kill myself. Anyway, so that's my opinion on the overall main content. Like, the main content I do in this game are the raids. So yeah, that's why I wanted to talk about those the most. Anyway, I want to talk about the next expansion. So 8.0, we haven't had any information yet. As of recording this video, there has been no real information on the next expansion. I'm recording this video in March 26. Which means that the next FanFest, I believe, is next month in April, and then that'll be when they finally reveal the details for the next expansion and all that. So until then, I'm going to say right off the bat that I am worried. I do not think this next expansion is going to be good. Well, okay, that might be a bit harsh, but because Dawntrail was definitely not great. It was fine, it wasn't bad, but it certainly wasn't great. I do think they can improve. I think they can definitely make the next expansion better than Dawntrail. That's the one thing I do believe, that I think they will make the next expansion better than Dawntrail. but I do not think that they will deliver on everything they promised. They said that next expansion they were going to work a lot more on the job design reworks and everything. I don't think they're going to deliver on that properly. I think half of the time it's going to be a case of they'll do some major changes to some jobs, like they'll probably rework Monk for the 50th time, and then, you know, leave it at that. And then they'll do some interesting changes, add new abilities and all that usual stuff, you know, and then that's it. And then over the course of the expansion, every patch they'll start rolling out more impactful changes, like they have done in Dawntrail, where they did a massive change to Viper after the first patch came out. And then of course they reworked Black Mage, like they did the same in Endwalker with Paladin as well. They reworked Paladin halfway through Endwalker. So I think that's just what they're going to do in this expansion too. I don't think they're going to do anything especially interesting. I think all the jobs are basically still going to be fundamentally the same, and whatever big changes they do make, they're going to roll them out delayed over the course of the really long patch cycles, which are part of the problem. So I don't have hope for a lot of things in the next expansion. I'm genuinely worried, actually, that this expansion might be the last, because of the way the game's going. I don't know if they have the resources necessary to keep the game alive for much longer. And that's really fucking worrying to me. I could be completely wrong, I could be talking about my arse, and I could just be worrying over nothing, but at the same time, this is something that has been on my mind for a long time since Dawntrail came out, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse every day, and every patch just makes it worse, so yeah. But yeah, that's another thing about the patch cycles, like they're just too long. There's too long a gap between the patch cycles, and I think that is a big problem with this game, because MMOs are a live service game. You pay money monthly to keep playing them. I get that, you know, all that stuff. However, you don't get new content every month. Like, yeah, I get that would take a lot of work. I get that they would need a lot more staff to do that. I understand that. Game design is fucking hard. Trust me. I sort of know, but at the same time, it's a big problem, because so many people are expecting all these big new things, and then in the most recent live letter, when they teased Beastmaster, they said, oh, we have to delay it to the later part of the patch. And I was like, oh, okay, great. So the one thing, the one new thing, like the big new thing that they teased for Dawntrail, which was Beastmaster, the new limited job, which everyone has been hyped for, they had to not only release it in the final patch of the expansion, or at least the final set of patches, but they also had to release it in a later part of said patch. They can't release it immediately on the patch, and they had to completely cancel the Blue Mage update. The Blue Mage update is not happening this expansion, and I already have my problems with Blue Mage. Like, Blue Mage is definitely something that needs to be better. And now the fact that the Blue Mage is not getting an upgrade in this expansion, and the fact that the Beastmaster is getting delayed this expansion, like, I imagine they're probably putting a lot of work in it, because if they're not putting enough work into it, then that is genuinely fucking concerning, because then it means that, well, they don't have the resources necessary to keep working on making all these cool new things, that all they can do is focus on the story, they focus on the dungeons, raids and trials, and keep it at that. And that's really worrying, because the game won't last if that's all it's going to be. If the formula is always going to be every expansion you get new dungeons, trials, stories, raids, and relic weapons, and maybe a field operation if you're lucky, then that's not going to last. Oh yeah, and variant dungeons. I should probably talk about variant dungeons. So variant dungeons were an idea that I genuinely thought were going to be cool. I thought at first I was interested. And I understand the problem with variant dungeon. The main problem is, of course, the reward system. There's no real incentive to keep doing the variant dungeons, which is obviously very bad. There's not enough rewards for it. And like my personal take of the variant dungeons, they're fine. They're fun to do. It's fun to go through all the different routes and see what happens. Especially since they're also solo content. Variant dungeons are actually something you can do on your own, and I like solo content in this game. I like the fact that they're adding more solo content, and I really fucking hope that if Blue Mage does get updated to level 90, that they can do variant dungeons. If Blue Mage cannot do variant dungeons when it gets updated, I am going to boycott them. I'm going to scream and possibly kill something, okay? Because that is the most obvious thing that they should do. Blue Mage, be incentivized to be a solo job, despite the fact that they released a fucking Blue Mage Party Finder thing for it. It should be able to do the solo content, no? It makes the most fucking sense. So if Blue Mage can't do variant dungeons when it gets updated, that is going to be bad. That will be very, very bad. And the same goes for the same applies obviously to Beastmaster as well. Now I understand that Blue Mage obviously is a different bag because of the balance, like it has different abilities and it has all these different things about it. I get that, but at the same time, it's still the solo job, and variant dungeons are the solo content, or at least they're the content that you can do solo if you wish. Now, I understand if they wouldn't allow you to do the content with other players if you're playing Blue Mage, like if they want it to be like a purely solo thing, then fair enough. At least it gives Blue Mage something else to do other than Mask Carnival. Yeah. Anyway, so variant dungeons are fine. Like, as a concept, they're fine, but the execution was a bit off because mainly the reward system. The reward system is just naff. And there's no incentive to keep doing them for other reasons, like, because you can't really get much out of them other than a bit of glamour and, you know, stuff you can sell on the market board, which, again, is even less incentive to do the dungeon, because if you can just sell it on the market board, if people have the money, they can just buy the shit they want instead of having to waste time doing the dungeon, you know? So, it's not good. It's definitely not good. Variant dungeons are a cool idea, but they need to be heavily reworked, or not necessarily reworked, but they need to be heavily worked more on. And I think they need to further incentivize the solo aspect of these things as well. Like, and again, Blue Mage needs to be able to do this when it gets updated. If Blue Mage can't do the variant dungeons when it gets updated, that is going to be very, very fucking bad. Anyway, so after that massive rant about me talking about some problems and also a bit of positivity on the raid side of things, I will want to say, like, I'm going to talk about a few things that I definitely want to see improved overall. And when I say all of these things and I talk about all the things I want improved, I'm saying all of this stuff in the expectation that it's not going to happen, because that's genuinely how I feel sometimes with this game. I feel like a lot of the time the big things that people want with this game don't happen. They just don't, and it's half the reason because of the amount of cost it would take, you know, for them to add to the game. Like, I understand that cost is a problem with this game. Like, Yoshi P himself stated straight up that there, you know, like, some things are just too costly for them to work on, and as sad and as annoying as that is, it's also kind of understandable given today's current climate. So yeah, I'm not expecting any of these things to happen, but I still want to talk about them, because maybe on the off chance that they could happen, then it will get my hopes up. It will get me feeling better about the game. So that's why I'm going to talk about them. So when it comes, I'm going to start with job design, because that's the big thing that I really need. Like, the job design is something that matters the most to me, because, you know, the jobs are basically the primary way you play the game, and if those don't get improved, then it's not going to be fun. So regarding each and every single job, I don't think I'm going to talk about each and every single job individually, because this video is already too long, so I'll probably do a dedicated video on every job in the future. But basically, my general thoughts, like the things that I want globally to change for every job, cooldowns. I think every job should go back to having different sets of cooldowns. I don't think everything should be on the 2-minute window, because that shit is fucking boring, and it also doesn't line up with a lot of fights. It's also very annoying when you have all these buffs going off, and then, you know, your buffs get overwritten by another person playing the same job, or your buffs get overwritten because you have too many buffs, and then, you know, the game doesn't allow for that many buffs. And they said they were going to work on that, so hopefully they do, but at the same time it's still an issue. And yeah, this is why I don't like the 2-minute window, and I also don't like the fact that so many jobs have raid-wide buffs. Like, I just don't think it's necessary. I get the idea, like, I get that it's fun to work as a team, and I get that it's fun to, you know, focus all your burst into a specific time window so that it feels like you're doing as much damage as possible. Like, I get the enjoyment of that, and I enjoy it too. There's a lot of jobs that I enjoy that specific aspect on. I really like Monk. I really like Monk's, like, burst phase, when you activate Riddle of Fire, and you activate the Perfect Balance and the Brotherhood, and you just go all in with your big moves, and then you do the big combo finishes. I love that. Monk is really satisfying for that reason. However, I don't think it's especially necessary for so many jobs to have team-wide buffs. I think, if anything, the only jobs that should have dedicated team-wide buffs should be Bard, Dancer, and maybe to some extent Ninja, because Ninja has the trick attack effect, or rather the, not trick attack, sorry, the Mug effect, or the Dukamori, whatever you call it. Like, those are like the only three, like, big jobs, like team-wide jobs, I think, that should have buffs. Oh, and I guess Astrologian as well, actually, now that I think about it. Astrologian, and I suppose Red Mage, actually. Yeah, so, like, those are, like, the main jobs I would consider to have, like, dedicated team-wide buffs for the team. Like, Embolden for Red Mage, Radiant Finale and all the songs for Bard, Standard Finish and Technical Finish and Devilment for Dancer. You know, all that stuff is, like, those jobs are designed to have supportive aspects, and I think having team-wide buffs on those jobs is fine. That should be how it is, because that's the point of those jobs, to have some extra team buffs and support. Ninja as well is a different case, because Ninja also improves damage against the enemy that they specifically attack with their Dokomori attack, and also they recently made it an AoE, so it works better in dungeons, which is really nice. So I think that can stay as well. However, then there are other jobs that, yes, they have, like they could have supportive abilities, but what is the fucking point? Like Monk's Brotherhood. I get the idea of Monk's Brotherhood being like you buff your team, and then whenever they attack, you get yourself a buff, like you get more chakra. Like I like that idea in concept, but I also don't like the fact that it's another button to press in the 2-minute window that you have to keep track of, and it's just I don't like that. It's too much bloat. It's another buff to add to the stupid amount of list of buffs that you get. And then, of course, let's talk about others. Dragoon, Battle Litany. What's the fucking point of Battle Litany? It's just a crit buff. Yeah, I get that crit buffs are strong, and I get that Dragoon is unique in the sense that it's probably the only job in the game that has a crit buff for the team. Well, unless you count Scholar and Dancer, but I don't know. They're a bit different. But anyway, Battle Litany, I don't think it needs to be a thing. I think, if anything, Battle Litany can stay, but it should be a crit buff for you, not for the team. Like, I think having it as a personal buff is fine. So yeah, like general things like that. I'm not gonna go, like I said, I'm not gonna go into every job, but I think that the overall 2-minute window thing is boring and outdated, and it needs to go. I think every job should have their own unique timing windows, their own unique cooldowns. Like, even if they decide to make it so that some abilities go back to being 1-minute cooldowns or something like that. And also, that's another point. Another job I wanted to talk about actually is Gunbreaker. Gunbreaker got a massive rework recently, and I fucking love it. I genuinely, I think Gunbreaker is so much better now, because they made it so that you have multiple charges on your Nashing Fan combo. They made it so that Bloodfest is a 60-minute cooldown. Sorry, 60-second cooldown. Jesus, 60-minute, can you imagine? Anyway, it's a 60-second cooldown, which means it lines up with the No Mercy window. They made it so that the Lionheart combo can be used every 60 seconds with the Bloodfest too, so you can just use the really fun part of the job. You can use the really fun combo every 60 seconds now, which is what I really fucking love. They made it so that Double Down goes back to having 2 cartridges, which is another thing I love, because it means you have to manage your cartridges a bit better again. And then, of course, just like Gunbreaker in general has just been, it's been gigabuffed. It got gigabuffed. That's the best way to put it. It got a massive buff, because now everything it can do is no longer on a 2-minute window, it's on a 1-minute window, which means it's a lot more engaging, it's a lot more fast-paced, it's got a lot more shit to do more often, more frequently, and you get to use the Lionheart combo more frequently, like twice as frequently, and I fucking love that for it. So it's stuff like that I think they need to do for other jobs too. Not necessarily make every 2-minute cooldown a 1-minute cooldown, because that would be a bit much. That would definitely probably break things. But like, they could make it so that a lot of jobs have much quicker cooldowns, or a lot of the more fun aspects of the jobs are put on shorter cooldowns, while a lot of the more powerful stuff for the job are still put on like higher cooldowns. As a quick example, I could say, let's think, Machinist. So Machinist has the overdrive gauge, it has the heat blast and everything, it has the automaton queen, it has all of its tools that it shoots every, whenever they come off cooldown, and then of course it has the barrel stabilizer, which is a 2-minute cooldown that gives you a free heat blast phase, as well as also granting you full metal full metal field. That's it. So Full Metal Field is an ability I wish I could use more. It's just really fun to press that button, because the animation is fucking sick, the amount of damage it does is insane, and I would love to be able to use that more. However, Barrel Stabilizer is the one that I think needs to stay on a higher cooldown, because having a free heat gauge to use every 2 minutes, definitely quite strong, and it would definitely, if they reduce the cooldown on that, I think Machinist might be a bit OP. So like, instead of making it so that Full Metal Field is attached to Barrel Stabilizer, they can make it so it's attached to another ability that's a 60-second cooldown. Like, maybe, what if you use Chainsaw and Excavator, it gives you the ability to use Full Metal Field or something, I don't know. Something like that, because the fun aspect of the job for me is using all the big attacks, it's using all the big powerful moves and seeing the big damage numbers go off. The part that is not fun for me is having to wait all that time to use them. I would love to play Machinist more, but in its current state, I don't enjoy it that much. And I would love to play Machinist. It's my favourite of the 3 Rangers. I want to play Machinist more, but I can't, because I don't enjoy it as much as I want to, because of all these like little things. So yeah, that's basically that. I think another thing I would like to see improved is the way that they release content. I understand patch cycles take forever and all that stuff. I understand that it takes a lot of work. However, I do think they need to start being a little bit more, they need to start taking more risks. if anything, because right now they're being too careful with shit. I think that's the problem. They're being too careful. They're taking too much time to work out stuff. The fact that Beastmaster got delayed is honestly like Beastmaster got delayed to the last cycle, and Blue Mage has gotten delayed to the next fucking expansion. Like that hurts. That generally hurts, and that's coming from someone who doesn't care too much for limited jobs, because limited jobs already are a big controversial problem. Like Blue Mage, like why can't we just have the job and do all the content with it like normal? You know, it's a fun idea for a job, but we can't do all the content with it. We can't do current content. We can't do anything that we want to do with it. So already that's a massive controversy. And now the fact that they're not even going to touch Blue Mage until next expansion, and the fact that Beastmaster is only going to up to level 50, and then the fact that Beastmaster is also getting delayed to the final, like to a later patch in the final sets of patches. Like this is stuff that is really upsetting, because we have to wait so much time for something that we're probably not even going to enjoy that much for very long anyway. Like Beastmaster is probably, yeah, I understand that Beastmaster is going to have this whole Crucible of the Unbroken thing where it's like a roguelike game that you can do once you max out the level and everything. It's going to be like Beastmaster's version of the Masked Carnival, which the Masked Carnival was fine. I enjoyed the Masked Carnival for the most part. However, the Masked Carnival doesn't really give that much incentive to keep doing it. Yeah, you get tombstones, I guess, but it's not like, I don't know. It's like after you get all the glamour and you get all the tombstones that you want, there's no point. There's no point to doing Blue Mage anymore. Like once you max out Blue Mage, you get all the abilities, you do all the Masked Carnival puzzles. Well, that's it. Like, and then, you know, every time they do release the Blue Mage update and it gets 10 extra levels and it gets a few extra abilities, you get all the abilities, you do the new Masked Carnivals, you get the level ups. That's it. Like what? How long did that take you? Like a week? Maybe less? Like, it's stuff like that, because we have to wait so fucking long for all the important things that we want in the expansion, and then by the time the new things come out, we're already fucking bored of them. It's like, it just hurts. It just really fucking hurts. I don't know if everyone else experiences it like that, like I do, but that's how I experience it anyway. That's the way I see it, because that's how it feels to me. Like I imagine by the time Beastmaster comes out, I'm going to play it for a bit, I'm going to level it up, I'm going to try and get all the creatures, and then after all that, I'm done. That's it. Like I probably won't touch Beastmaster again until they update it, because that's generally how that's generally the problem I have with Blue Mage, is that once I get all the new shit, I don't want to keep playing it. And it sucks, because I really like Blue Mage. It's a fun idea, it's a fun concept for a job, and I want to play it more, but I can't, because I can't do all the current content. It can't do Endwalker content, it can't do Dawntrail content, and Beastmaster can't do any expansion content. It's going to be a Realm Reborn exclusive job for a while, which is even worse when you remember that you have to have Dawntrail to get the fucking job. Like, it's just so many other problems. Like, there's so many little problems that all add up to one big pool of ick. And they're not fixing any of it. They're not taking risks. They're not trying to change it. They're keeping things to a specific formula, and it's getting fucking boring. It's getting stagnant, and it needs to change. And that's why I'm worried about the next expansion, because I don't think they're going to do that. I genuinely don't have hope. Maybe in a month's time when FanFest comes out and they reveal all the new shit they're going to do and they show off some showcase and stuff, you know, maybe then I'll be wrong. Maybe this video will be completely outdated in a month, which, if that's the case, I will be so happy. I will be genuinely happy if everything I've talked about in this video gets completely outdated. Or, well, not everything, because if my love for the Arcadian raids gets outdated, then that will be a problem. But no, I mean, like, if all the negative stuff that I've mentioned in this particular video gets completely wiped clean, like wiped out, dated, like in a month's time, it's all pointless, I will be so happy. I might even genuinely delete this video if that's the case. But until then, I'm going to keep the video up, because this is stuff that worries me. And it's stuff that I wanted to rant about for a while, and I love this game to death, and I really don't want to see it fail. So, speaking of failing, I'm going to say, if the next expansion doesn't wow me, if the next expansion disappoints me, and it doesn't do everything that they say they promised to do, if they don't deliver on their promises and it just ends up not being not that as big of a deal as they made it out to be, I might genuinely cancel my sub. Which is something I really don't want to do, but I might have to, because this game means so much to me, and nothing will change unless people take drastic action. So anyway, last but not least, this video is already an hour long, so I'm just going to quickly talk about my future with the game and what I plan to do. I will keep playing the game for as long as I can, obviously, If the new expansion does turn out to be really good and it does make some big changes that are important, then yeah, great, absolutely, I'll love to keep playing the game for another 10 million years. But until the game gets some significant changes, I will not be able to play this game to the enjoyment that I had when I first played it. I first started playing this game properly in Shadowbringers. Technically, I first installed the game in the Stormblood area, but during Stormblood, I wasn't really that invested in MMOs. I didn't like the concept of an MMO, so I didn't really keep playing the game. But then I gave the game a second chance after Shadowbringers came out, and I'm so glad I fucking did. I'm so fucking glad I did, because my experience playing the game throughout Shadowbringers, throughout Endwalker, it was amazing. It brought so many lovely memories. I tried streaming it, obviously, which obviously was a very bad fucking idea, but at the same time, I still enjoyed playing the game. It was one of the things I loved doing. Streaming it also incentivized me to keep playing the game as well. It incentivized me to keep playing for the story. And the story of this game, and you know, Sai and having my character, like that is all the stuff that keeps me playing this game. But I don't think it's going to be enough to keep my enjoyment of the game if the next expansion turns out to just be another Dawntrail, which is really what I'm worried about. I'm genuinely worried that's going to be the case. Anyway, yeah, so this video was already way too long, and I suppose there's not really much for me to talk about right now. I might make more videos talking about my issues with this game. I don't know, like, I have some ideas for things I want to talk about, but at the same time, I don't want to make every video about 14 completely negative. Like, I want to make sure I still have some positivity with this game, because I genuinely do. I love this game to death, so I want to have good things to talk about it. But this video was the first in probably many discussions that I'm hopefully going to make about the problems this game has, and until stuff gets changed, I will keep talking about it, because it's just a pain in the arse at this point. And I don't want to see this game die. I don't want to see it fail. I genuinely don't. It's gonna be sad if that happens. If this game dies, I'm gonna be so upset, because this game means a lot to me. So that's why I wanted to make this really long rant video about it. So, you know. Anyway. But yeah, I will also do other content. Obviously, I'm not going to do just 14 rants. I'm going to do other content. I do want to do videos on Deadlock. Most likely, my next video will be about Deadlock, so that might be fun. I don't know. I'll see. I'll see how I feel. I haven't actually decided what I want to do after this video, but we'll see. I'll get around to it maybe. But for now, that's basically all I wanted to say. So probably, you know, just me talking off of not talking off of a script, and you guys have probably also not even gotten this far into the video, and for the most part I imagine a lot of you have either stopped paying attention to what I'm saying, or you've fallen asleep during my video, I don't know, whatever. Basically, I understand that I talked a lot, and I probably didn't even say anything too meaningful, but I did want to talk. Like, I just wanted to voice my concerns. I just wanted to get some stuff off my chest, and this video helps me do that, because it's me talking about something that I love and the problems I have with that something. Anyway, yeah, so I think I'm going to leave it there. If there's anything else I forget, I'll do another video on it, or maybe I'll just put it in the description or whatever. But basically, that's all I wanted to talk about for now. So, yeah, hopefully see you guys again. Bye.